Chuck and Christiana. Thank you for being our shift relief volunteers. You will be a friendly and welcome face for the other volunteers who are helping that evening and need a break. Your role is to rotate around and give people 15-minute breaks. This is to use the restroom, take their dinner break, however they want to spend it. The best way, I think, to organize yourselves and decide how to move around is to look at the volunteer roster, which will be included again with this email. Print out a copy for yourselves and then make your rounds. You'll notice that there's a column on the volunteer roster that shows volunteers who purchased meals. We want to make sure that those people all get a chance to take a meal break because they did go ahead and purchase a ticket. About half of our volunteers, both parent and faculty, decided to do that. So making sure that they get their meal break is important. Beyond that, sort of being strategic about looking at the time frames. So our check-in volunteers, our food service volunteers, those people are finishing up their shifts by about the time that our guests have finished getting their dinner, which is a perfect transition for them to get their own dinner. So they may not need a break. They have shorter shifts and they're pretty much done by the time the guests are done with their dinner and ready to take a break. The volunteers that you really want to concentrate that have shifts that overlap the dinner and really will need a break are people who are helping in the bartending role, some of our silent auction volunteers. I would say those are sort of the main ones. And then of course our two student club organizers, Brooke and Debbie. They'll have the longest shifts that evening and making sure they get a break too. So again, I think the best way to do this, and the reason I didn't give specific times for each person, is that we need to be a little flexible during the event. And so sometimes assigning a person to an exact time, if it doesn't work out because they have a big line and they end up missing their break, allowing us to be a little bit more flexible and having you rotate and offer breaks seems like it might be the best thing to do. We're trying it out this year, so we'll see, and you can let me know what you think for next year. But for this year, go ahead and print out your Boots and Barbecue staff and volunteer roster. It's included with this email. It has a column that shows everyone who purchased a dinner ticket, making sure they get their dinner, and giving people about a 15-minute break. Make sure that when they depart for their break that you check in on what time to expect them to return. And then in terms of filling in, just look to your fellow volunteers and ask what tasks they'd like you to take on. If it's a slow time, if the person can leave without causing a disruption and they don't need a substitute, that's also fine. Again, it's very fluid. So I'd like to learn from you both and see what you think works this year for next year. Also, make sure to get your own dinners. I noticed you purchased tickets too, so be sure to get your own break at a time that makes sense for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to check in with Lisa. Thank you.